put this as a background. Well, that looks nice. I like that. So today, everybody, I'm going to be sharing some things. I'm Marlene Motivates. I am your life coach, and today I'm going to be talking to you about standing firm. And I think that's one of the things that we each need to learn about life is we need to learn how to set the standards. Only we can set the standards. Only you can say what you want in your life. Only you can stand up for what you want and what you believe in, because if you don't believe in yourself, there's nobody who is going to believe in you. So, standing firm, it means holding your ground, knowing what you want to do, and then having enough courage, having enough confidence to be just that. So stand firm in what you believe in. Don't let anybody shift that. And partially, it starts with having confidence, being confident in yourself, and after being confident in yourself, it's knowing the direction that you want to move towards. And also, I call that the direction to where God is leading you to. And that takes a lot of courage to not only know what you are supposed to do, but also knowing what's good for you. And I love that. I love I love knowing that I have value. And I love saying that to all of my motivators family too. Stand firm in who you are as a woman or as a man. Don't let anybody tell you who you are. At the end of the day, how positive your life is, how successful your life is, how strong you feel is dependent on how you feel about yourself. See, if you don't stand firm, if you are not confident, if you don't stand firm on your values and do the right thing, later on you're going to be sorry about that. So, I first wanted to start off this conversation talking about trust. And we really have to be careful about who we trust. Not everybody who claims to be, who they say they are is actually that way. You know, it took me a long time for me to understand that, because everybody's not going to be me. Hi, Eunice. How are you doing? Welcome. It took me a long time for me to come to this space of everybody is not showing up like I do. I had to learn that everybody is not going to be me. And I had to stop expecting for people to give me from them. And it's an impossible standard, and having that expectation and feeling that people are going to show up like we do, it's going to be very disappointing and very discouraging. So that's what I'm talking about. Standing firm and realizing that people are who they are, you know, and believing that whenever you find out who somebody is, have the courage to say, yeah, that's who they are. Believe it. And I used to be that person that I would never want to believe it because of how I felt about them. And a lot of times we will believe in somebody more than they believe in themselves. We will have this high standard of expecting something from somebody that they're not capable of being that. Hey Delvin, how are you doing? And we have to understand that everybody is not capable of being what we want, what we expect from them, and we have to learn to stand firm. And that's my message for today, is learning to stand firm in that, knowing that, okay, This person is showing me that they're disrespectful. This person is showing that they don't care about boundaries. This person is showing me that whenever they get upset, they're going to become unhinged and be disrespectful or be angry. And you have to stand firm and believe that and not lie to yourself. It took me a long time as a woman, as a grown and mature woman, to get to the space to say, when somebody is showing me this, believe it and stand firm in that. And don't feel like it's something missing inside of me because I believe it. Delvin says, bless up the chat. I'm cool. How are you? I'm doing great. Delvin, yes, blessings to the whole chat. That's one of the things that I had to learn that part. I can only speak for myself in this, that I had to learn how to know what I want and know how I feel, especially paying attention to people's energy. There's a lot of people, their energy is off. Like, you ever meet somebody and you're like, there's something about them, but I can't put my finger on it. So we know a lot of times who people really are, but it takes courage for us to stand firm and to actually say, now that I know this, now that I believe this is who they are, what am I going to do with it? And it's making those moves when you stand firm. Um, when you realize that a person is toxic, or a person is not good for you, or that person is insecure, or whatever it is. But taking that information and not letting it make you feel like you're less than. No, it means that you know your worth. And there are a lot of individuals that come into our life that will challenge that. There's a lot of people who will challenge, like, okay, you say you love yourself, you say you're worthy, but yeah, we'll see. There's a lot of people that try to challenge your confidence. They try to challenge your worth because maybe they don't possess worth. Maybe they don't know themselves yet. Maybe they don't have enough courage to stand firm and to believe. It took me a really long time to get to that space to say, you know what? I don't like the way you treat me and I don't have to take it. Before, I was always like negotiating, and I had this internal struggle of, oh, but they're a good person. Like, always negotiating and trying to make myself force them to stay in my life, like trying to force somebody to fit into a space. They don't belong in that space in your life, you know? And that's very hurtful. It's very hurtful when you realize it, but it's always better to save yourself from mental, emotional, financial, spiritual disaster, because it happens a lot. We know something isn't right, but you continue it anyways. How many times we hear something? Oh, that's not a good man. Oh, but I'm gonna do what I want to do anyways. And later on, the situation is disastrous. And the same thing when it comes to maybe a job or something, or schooling, or it's so many things that can be involved in this. But it's when you realize that something is something is what it is, and then having the courage to see through it, take off the rose colored glasses, check your ego. This has got nothing to do with you. This is them. And when I learned to separate my feelings towards the person from the actual knowledge of, this is what it is, Marlene. It's not about how you feel towards a person. It's realizing the person's lies, toxicity, drama, insecurity, or just sometimes it's just a clash of personality. There are some individuals that we just aren't going to get along with them for one reason or the other. And it's cool because we're adults and we have a choice to make. Not everybody is meant to be your friend. Not everybody's meant to be in your life. Some people you just may have to be around them, maybe because of work and so on, but it doesn't have to go past that. It can just be an associate, it could just be a workmate, but it doesn't mean it has to be a friend. It doesn't mean it has to be a romantic relationship. It doesn't mean any of those things. Yes, yeah, it's very sad but true. Very sad but true, Eunice, because there's so many women and men that settle. You know, they settle. They have no self-esteem. They don't respect themselves, and it's a really big life lesson and life hack to have enough confidence within yourself to say, "I deserve better. I don't have to settle. This is what I'm feeling when I'm around them, and I know how I feel, and I don't got to take that." And that applies to any situation, any relationship, any person. When most of the time when we get that indicator, that feeling inside something is not right, then what do we do? You know, my thing before used to be, oh, but they're a good person. There I would go rationalizing, but I like them. Or if it's a romantic relationship, but I'm attracted to them. And you have to think more of more than just flesh and blood. You have to think about the consequences. Is this really good for me, or is this just something that I want? And that is the difference between maturity and immaturity. That a lot of times we can be very immature. You can be a whole grown according to society's standards of age. You can be 18, 21 and up, but it doesn't mean a lot of people know how to make good decisions. To make good decisions, you got to think, you got to spend time, you have to meditate, you got to pray over those things, and you got to, you know, ask yourself, is this, how do I feel, is this something that's good for me, and you know, how are they helping me? Sometimes you got to step back a little bit to see what people will do outside of what you do, you know. And when I started to learn that as I am maturing, that things happen because of what I'm doing. You have to allow people to fall on their face sometimes to reveal who they really are. And we get an escape. Like the door is open for us to leave, you know, to break up, to, you know, to notice that it is this. But it takes a lot of courage to say, I got to walk away from this. And that takes a lot of courage to stand firm and to say, this is not good for me. This is not helping me. This is not healing me. This is not growing me. And there's a lot of things that can have monumental consequences. That, yes, there's some things that maybe you can come back from, but there's some decisions that you make that can have consequences for the rest of your life. I mean, sometimes people can do things to you that can impact you for the rest of your life, you know, can impact you mentally. You know how like the verbal abuse that some people will just always be, you know, cutting you down all the time. um Hi, Fly G Money, how are you doing? Yeah, it's not always low self-esteem. It's a lot of things that come into play, but you know, I'm just giving some examples of what it could be. Miss Eunice says, absolutely. I had to do a personal assessment to be more self-aware so that I can make the best decisions. Yes. And that's why I always say that you know how you feel, and you know when you get those red flags, right? When the red flag goes up and you're like, something's not right. We get those warning signs. And even sometimes if you have some really good friends, really good people in your life, and they'll say, I don't think this is, be careful. But are you going to humble yourself? Are you going to check your ego and not just think about your feelings and what you want to do? And I know for myself that put myself in a lot of situations sometimes because I did not listen. I didn't listen to how I felt. Didn't listen to what I was seeing. And when you're in a relationship, all kinds of relationships, romantic, friendship, and friend, or your relatives, any relationship, when it's toxic, you don't really see it because all you can see is that how you feel about them, but you're not seeing the toxicity because a lot of times when you're in it, you're blinded by the emotions, you're blinded by expectations, you're blinded by maybe that a person fed you all of these pipe dreams about, oh, I'm going to do all of these things for you, and you're waiting for that. And honestly, a lot of times we're wasting our time. And that's why I say you got to stand firm in what you know for sure. And what we know for sure is for sure how you feel, because how you feel does matter. When you don't feel right, like it's some indicator, like something's not right about this, something's not right about them, like what they say, and you're like, or you start seeing inconsistencies. They're saying one thing but they're doing another, and you're like, yeah. But what are you going to do when you come to that realization? Okay, he or she is not what they claim to be. Now, the next one that I want to talk about in standing firm is standing firm in respect. Okay, respect is something that has to be earned and not given. And there's a lot of people who think because of a title, oh, I'm your cousin, auntie, mama, friend, husband, wife, whoever, that you must respect me. No, respect goes both ways. Respect happens by the way that a person treats you. Disrespect and respect cannot go together. And there's a lot of people who feel like, I deserve respect. But how do they treat you? How do they treat themselves? I always say that how a person treats themselves is a reflection of how they will treat you. A lot of times people don't even know how to treat themselves well. They treat themselves like trash. So, of course, they're going to treat you like trash. And you got to be aware of those things. Hey, Miss Lynn, how are you doing? So, that's what I'm saying is that you got to stand firm when it comes to respect. And I understand that everybody is not going to be able to give us respect. Everybody, just because you're asked for it. There's a lot of people that are very controlling, manipulative. They hate themselves. They're going through things. They're angry. They got a lot of unresolved issues, or they could be very immature, or even sometimes people just are pure evil. There's no other way to slice it. Some people are just pure evil, and you can't expect respect from a person who that's who they are. When you realize who people are, you got to believe that. And if somebody is constantly disrespecting you, the thing is, you got to stand firm in saying, I'm not going to allow it. And there's a few things that we can do when a person is disrespectful. We can be silent. We can walk away. We can tell them, how we feel. Or we can choose not to, because there are sometimes, it depends on the person. If I respect a person, if a person is open and we have a sort of a rapport going on, I will tell them, when you just said that, I think that was very rude. And then most of the time they'll come back, oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to be, I'm having a bad day or whatever. I'm sorry, I apologize. But other people, they don't care. They have that I don't care about anybody else but me kind of attitude. And those are the ones that you have to be very careful, because they have no problem They will have no problem trying to unalive you. They have no problem taking everything from you financially. They don't care about emptying you. That what I call those people leeches. You got to be careful of people who are leeches, because they'll take everything that you have. They will suck you dry in every aspect, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially. They will suck you dry. And then they just move on. Like, I didn't do anything to you. And once a person has nothing that they can take from you, those are the individuals. They're going to move on to their next victim. It's sad, but it's the truth. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the last of why we should stand firm in what we're doing is, and that is boundaries. Okay. Stand firm with boundaries. Do not let anybody go past a boundary that you have made. See, there's one thing that I had to learn, is that boundaries are not just for other people. Boundaries are also for me. How? Because when you have a boundary, it means you know what you want. It means you know what you deserve. It means you know the path that you're going. And when other people are trying to disrespect, make you feel inferior, take away from you, or just be very disrespectful, those are the people you're going to have to cut them off, because they're never going to take no for an answer. There are individuals like that. You will tell them all day long, I don't like how you treat me. I don't like this. I don't like that. But they're still going to do what they want to do, because they only care about themselves. Very selfish individuals, very controlling, very manipulative individuals. And you have to be cognizant of it. That, no matter how much you want people to grow, no matter how bad you want to take people when you're trying to elevate and be a better person, not everybody wants to grow. Not everybody wants to do the right thing. And was a big one, that it hurts sometimes, but not everybody wants to see you happy. And that's hurtful, but it's the real truth. Yes, Miss Eunice says yes, and it's very exhausting. They take everything out of you if you know you allow them to. Yes, just a lot of times we allow them to take, use, and abuse us, and we shouldn't. Okay. So I just wanted to end this discussion by saying, know your worth. When you are, as a woman or as a man, we're all different, ladies and gentlemen. We all have different goals and focuses in life, but ultimately we should respect ourselves. Respect yourself and know what you want in this life. And it takes time. You got to get to know who you are as a woman, who you are as a man. What are you good at? And then not compromising. Don't compromise your values. Don't compromise your integrity. Don't compromise what you want from your life. And don't let anybody take you aside from that. You have to stand firm. Stand firm. Stand your ground. You got to respect yourself first. Self-love is highly important, okay? And not saying we're going to be egotistical, but we should have a healthy amount of love for ourselves and be our own best friend, okay? We can't expect for other people to give us friendship with ourselves. Other people will, until you realize that, nobody can fill the void of friendship. You got to be your own friend first, okay? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm Marlene Motivates, your life coach. If you're new here, hit the like, subscribe, leave me a comment below. And you know what I say over here. Just know it, just breathe it, and be it, and live your best life. Shout out to my mods. Shout out to the channel members. I appreciate every single one of you. Respect yourself. Love yourself, okay? And do what you need to do so that you can be mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually strong. Okay? I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much, Eunice, Delvin, Lara, Joe, and Miss Lynn, and anybody who was in the background. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your evening, guys.